Hi, everybody. Alongside Bernardo Osuna, Mark Kriegel, and the champ, Andre Ward, I'm Joe Tessitore. And this is the state of boxing here in mid-May as we have our eyes towards early June and the return of the sport. Here's the latest from Bob Arum, the Hall of Fame promoter, who was on Sirius Radio recently. He said, "We plan to launch the first week in June in a safe, secure way. We're going to initially launch in Nevada, made arrangements or are making arrangements with a hotel. Can get everybody tested, put them in a bubble, get these fights on. And unfortunately, because a lot requires so much extra work and care and testing, we're going to limit our fight shows to 4 fights a card." Now, Arum told us of a plan a few weeks ago. Now he goes into a little more detail. We can also report that in terms of these cards that Arum and Top Rank want to bring back in early June, the report is multiple fights per week that would air on the ESPN networks. The question is, who would we see in the ring? What level of fighters? What names are we talking about? Mark.
All right, let's talk about it. It's different, between when I do live streams and when I do, post-fight videos, because, I have that adrenaline to when I have to do videos like these, where it's like previews or update videos, there's anxiety there. But once I get going and get 4 out the way, then boom, before I know it, I can have anywhere between 10 to 30 out a week. I get like that. So this is me trying to get back in the flow of things. Also, I've made a lot of personal and financial advancements off of YouTube to it puts me in the best. This is the most educated and mentally serene I've ever been in my life, outside of one issue that, unfortunately, for the amount of pain and stress that it's caused me, because that shit hurt. But at the end of the day, I know that it's going to help us in regards to those who've been following me for all these years, or supporting me all these years, and supporting the movement. Because when I look at it, I always think to myself, wow, at the end of the day, I accomplished my goal, going from this vlogger that used to be drunk in a 1-bedroom apartment, just ranting and raving the videos, to being ringside at major boxing events. That shit mean a lot to me, So with that dream being accomplished, it's how can you not grow from that? How can you not, go further from that? You have to. So unfortunately, for somebody like me, I have to always think, I used to be unfortunate. I used to be dirt broke. Wallowed in my own filth, mentally just broken down, just low, to the point where I didn't even want to be here no more. To 2 years ago, where I didn't have a choice, where my life was almost taken. So when I look at what people are going through now, and I think we're going to get to this in a minute, even though I'm doing well, I have to always think I have to look at the blessings, because I know that people aren't doing well. Because I was fucked up just 2 years ago. And now I've been thriving during this lockdown. So what I've been learning, what I've been accumulating, the pressure of covering boxing is harder now, because I know what the cap can be. I have the access now. Those who have followed me for all these years, we have the access now. You've seen it. I got a whole wall of credentials behind me. And with this podcast that I'm building, and with this other venture of something I'm working on, I'm sorry if my mic's a little messed up, where I have something called Fathers Against Abuse. I'm starting a nonprofit. Now I have, at this point in time in my life, everything I've learned as a 36-year-old man, everything I've always said I can do, I'll be able to do, I'm there. But I have to be able to manage all that, manage people, and have a personal life and take care of those, that I said I was going to take care of. So no matter how I'm doing financially, now I have to always make sure stay to the path. You started this boxing shit. You said you're going to do this in regards to, learning the media, You know, once you learn enough about media, move on to the next thing, start working closely with fighters. Then after that, maybe become a manager, you know, get 1-2 fighters, you know, maybe advise to like, yo, you should fight this guy, but not that guy. Maybe, you know, go on to be, you know, a matchmaker. That's the end goal, to start climbing the ladder. Every job I've always had in my life, I've always started at the bottom. You know, first job I ever had, I worked at a gas station, SMC. They were a small franchise of, at that time, Amoco, then BP. Now they've moved on to Sunoco gas stations. I live actually around the corner from one of them, Piccolo Joe Coffee. This is actually black coffee, but it's been watered down. Black ice coffee. Piccolo Joe's. Shout out to them. Township Line Road. So the point I'm trying to make is I started, you know, at 11 years old cleaning the pumps. By time I was, 21, I was managing 2 gas stations. I was at college at the time. When I first started in the restaurant business, I was a host, busboy, cleaning tables and shit. I was going to Cheney University. This was in like 2005, some shit. You know, by the time I left, I was a bartender, with the youngest bartender actually I ever had. You know, so it's always been like that. So my goal is always to go further and further, but I've always had a whole bunch of bullshit and a vindictive baby mother and multiple incompetent judges in the family court system. I got a documentary coming out. Just give me about 2 more weeks. I've been working on it behind the scenes. I got a whole script, everything. You know, but it slowed me down so much that they got to pay for it. You know, the jobs I've lost, job opportunities I've lost with Sky Sports, the job opportunities I had to turn down with certain promoters, the emails I've had to just ignore, like, y'all got to pay for that. So, we thriving out here. Let's get to some boxing. June 9th, this is the plan. Damn, I'm all spitting and shit. If I can go, the goal would be, if they allow any type of media. Now, y'all know me, I'm a little bit, for those who've been watching me, I'm a little bit, you know, I don't like traveling. But for something like this, no matter the level of the fights, if it's only 4 fights, I would go out there for the fucking, before the weigh-in. Will they see UFC let media there? How will they do this though? That's the thing. You know, UFC, I've covered the last 2 UFC events, 2 out of 3. They had media there, but how would boxing do it? You know, there's still questions that have to be answered, but let's skim through this a little bit. I'm sorry, I just thought, since this is my first, you know, video in a while, like actually like video where I'm giving you some news and it's not me playing a bunch of music and shit. By the way, we're cleaning up all that. For those, I keep saying the same shit. For those who've been following me, you kind of know how I get down. You know when my channel is serious, like when it's like, all right, he back to business. And the times when I'm bullshitting around. So this is me telling you, like, all right, we're getting to business now. You know, like, we got to start getting in that work mode. And I want to make sure, and I'm going to make sure, that we're at a point where we're consistent. And once I start that podcast, it ain't no going back. And the number one thing I've learned, for people have been saying, you keep saying you're going to start this podcast, you keep saying, I know that with everything I've learned, if I do it right, I don't want to make the same mistake I made with the website. If I launch this podcast, following everything I've learned, when you first launch a podcast, you end up in the what's new section. You know, that first, what is it that they say, like a week or so? I want to make sure my podcast hits hard. So I'm going to be doing something that nobody else is going to be doing. And I've been listening and I've been researching. You see me on Twitter, even if my Twitter not popping like it used to be. I'm using that shit as a tool of, I'm watching you. What are you doing wrong? What kind of capitalize off for you? Where's your podcast at? What's your I'm doing all that shit. I don't got this command center for nothing. Sometimes I get to a point where I get too research heavy, where, like I said, I taught myself like how to build websites. So I just need y'all to follow me, man. And I'm sorry if I'm, going on a tangent, ranting on. It's the first. I'm just giving this long message. So for people who have been saying, "What the fuck is the videos?" You can't say I've been telling you. When we come back, we're coming back hard. My whole stream shit, we breaking all that down, rebuilding everything. Shit gonna be nicer. People think it's already look nice, but me, I want my shit to pop, be crisp. We're going places. Let's get back to business. Shakur Stevenson was supposed to fight Rafael Rivera, but the news now is Rafael Rivera couldn't get his visa. So that's the type of fights we're looking at. We're not looking at fights that are going to really. Could we get Jose Ramirez versus Victor Postol behind closed doors? Now, you need to watch this episode right here because I haven't watched it yet, and I already know this is something that I need to watch. I've been away from boxing content. Even though I've been following shit on social media, all the stories, I haven't been watching any content. You see what I'm saying? So let's start over. We're going to skim through this.
Hi, everybody. Alongside Bernardo Osuna, Mark Kriegel, and the champ, Andre Ward, I'm Joe Tessitore. And this is the state of boxing here in mid-May as we have our eyes towards early June and the return of the sport. Here's the latest from Bob Arum, the Hall of Fame promoter, who was on Sirius Radio recently. He said, "We plan to launch the first week in June in a safe, secure way. We're going to initially launch in Nevada, made arrangements or are making arrangements with a hotel, can get everybody tested, put them in a bubble, get these fights on. And unfortunately, because a lot requires so much extra work and care and testing, we're going to limit our fight shows to 4 fights a card." Now, Arum told us of a plan a few weeks ago. Now he goes into a little more detail. We can also report that in terms of these cards that Arum and Top Rank want to bring back in early June, the report is multiple fights per week that would air on the ESPN networks. The question is, who would we see in the ring? What level of fighters? What names are we talking about? Mark Kriegel, what's the latest?
That's going to be a busy week.
On or around June 9, you're going to see Shakur Stevenson probably, if all goes right, debut at 100 pounds. He'll still hold on to his 126-pound title. There's still hope down the line of a fight, of a unification with Josh Warrington. On the same card, you should have Michaela Mayer also at 130. She'll be the co-main. Next week after that, all goes well, Jesse Magdaleno and Adam Lopez in a co-main. You might remember Adam Lopez, blue nose. He knocked down Oscar Valdez last time I saw him in what we can loss. Josh Greer, bantamweight, vows to bring his pillow, knock his opponent out. Gabe Flores, we'll see him too. Chris Van Heerden should fight Giovanni Santillan, 25-0, toward the end of the month. And in July, you will see the first, what should be the first champion, defend his belt on or around July 4th. Jamel Herring, his first champion, defend his belt without a live audience.
The distinction there being, of course, obviously a wide range.
Obviously, we can't watch all of this. I feel that ESPN Plus, let me give them a little plug. I do feel that ESPN Plus is essential because when I canceled UFC Fight Pass before UFC came back, I did get it again. I did renew my subscription. I was like, oh, yeah, they got to go. Luckily, I was able to pause the DAZN subscription, but a lot of people weren't. And truth be told, I had 3 DAZN subscriptions. One I get free because I was beta testing. I haven't been in there in God knows how long. Another one was the $100 one, and one was still under $10.95. I ain't been in there. I ain't checking. I know I paused one. I know people been saying they ain't been able to pause or whatever, but I feel that in this day and age, I like Hulu because I like all the old shows and shit. I be watching motherfucking King of the Hill and all that. And then, you got to have Disney Plus. If you got kids, it's kind of essential. And then for ESPN Plus, that come with all of it. You dig me? So, and also I like that you get ESPN Insider. I used to want that for years back in the day before you was able to get your news all over anyway. But anyway, we're not going to be able to watch all of that, but as you could see, it's looking like it's going to be a bunch of, A sides against C sides and D sides. Now, a fight, let's go look at something first real quick. Shakur Stevenson is going to be fighting at 130, not defending his 126-pound title. So let's go look here real quick. They're going to try to get him somebody with a ranking, just to be like, a rank contender at 1. They're going to try to get him somebody. But the question is who? Now, you got to factor in, I don't feel like doing the math in the process of elimination, to be honest with you. That would take us forever. But would it be him? It's got to be somebody that won't have visa issues. Didn't we hear I heard his name somewhere. Damn it. He's linked to somebody. Who? Herring. Okay, he was linked to Herring. That's who he's linked to. All right. So Oquendo versus Herring. That's the fight that he was saying, Herring's coming back in July. But who would Shakur Stevenson fight at 130? Now, I know what you're thinking. Shakur Stevenson and Herring should fight. Nah, that ain't happening, bro. Let's not even, come on. They ain't happening. They're not in the exact same stable because Stevenson not trained by Bomac, right? No. But with Stevenson, he's got that powerhouse team of Andre Ward, also mentored by Terrence Crawford and Jay Prince. So basically, you can see the level of fights that we're going to be getting. Now Michaela Mara, it's time for her to, move on to a title shot. But with, they have to do the best that they can, especially they don't want nobody getting sick. Just like UFC, you don't want nobody getting sick, man. And they say, look, you should have never brought it back. So they have to quarantine these fighters, quarantine everybody. I don't think media is going to be allowed to go. Then I think about it, I don't want to go no more. Then I think about it because it's, I do. But if they let us go, I'll be like, well, I need to do some research on how UFC did it. Like, how did they do? I know that at the post-fight press conferences and the weigh-in, the tables were so far away from the fighters. So we would just be, all the media would just be in one room, I guess. I don't know how they would do it. Anyway, no need to be fucking harping on that. We got to figure that out. Well, see what they're going to do. And if they put out something, I would put in my app. I will put in the app to go. Let's skim through this, though. You can watch this on ESPN Plus. What is it called again? State of Boxing. I wonder what Tim Brad doing.
Using with the Mexico City fights in the studio environment, fanless, and what we could see in Nevada?
And Joe, there's a concrete protocol established by the WBC, and this is the first step in the protocol. The health questionnaire that each fighter plus one cornerman will have to fill out prior to being quarantined under medical supervision for 14 days in the Mexican Olympic Center. Fighters will be there for 14 days. They will be...
Hold up. Remember, I didn't watch this. I just skimmed to this part. Let's back it up a little bit, and I'm going to restart it. I'll let you listen to it, but I'm going to have that disclaimer pop up every now and then. But let's back. What are they talking about? Let's go back 1 minute. Let's go right here. So once again, you can watch this on ESPN Plus, man. Shit. Sometimes they be like, I don't do it. Every now and then it resets. Hold on. Sometimes they be on my ass. Guillermo over with WWE now. So I don't mess with they stuff. You my boy, Guillermo. He used to be top ranked digital dude. He tried to get me. He thought I fucking Guillermo. Where's that? Is that it? Let me see. Hold on. Here we go. Let's start right here.
Time against anybody for the most part. So I'm not surprised that they're one of the first guys that are on the list of the first wave of fighters that are kind of giving the new structure and the new system a try. I think it's a treat for the fans who are stuck at home and who are quarantined away and who don't have a lot of fights right now. These are the types of guys that you want to put out there to get the ball rolling and get fans excited about boxing again.
Bernardo, any difference between the protocols they would be using with the Mexico City fights in the studio environment, fanless, and what we could see in Nevada?
And Joe, there's a concrete protocol established by the WBC, and this is the first step in the protocol. The health questionnaire that each fighter plus one cornerman will have to fill out prior to being quarantined under medical supervision for 14 days in the Mexican Olympic Center. Fighters will be there for 14 days. They will be subject to 3 COVID tests on the day of arrival, 7 days before the fight, and on weigh-in day. They will also have scheduled times for individual training and meal service, and facilities and means of transportation will be constantly sanitized. In terms of production details, the judges, as of right now, but it's negotiable, are supposed to watch the fights in a remote studio, but they're trying to get the judges to be in the venue. The broadcasters will sit about 30 feet from the ring and apart from one another while always in constant communication. And much like the NFL is thinking of doing in their return, LED walls with fans, kind of put in there on all four sides as virtual reality fans, really, to try to give somewhat of an ambiance. So they're trying to give it more of a vibe than what we saw with the return of UFC.
We'll get to that in a moment.
Y'all hear all this crazy shit? And what I want to do is I want to do individual videos. So let's just look at this like a part one. The next one is I want to really, really deeply talk about PBC fights all in one video. You know what I'm saying? Like how we don't know what they're doing, and if they come back, they're trying to put on a big fight in September with like a crowd, and we want to do a video on what Eddie Hearn is doing and how the zone just went quiet and took people money. Virtual fans. So Miguel Berchelt and Navarrete are going to headline their own card, or headline individual co-feature on a card, or headline individual card. What did that little thing say?
I think it's a treat for the fans who are stuck at home and who are
headline separate cards. It says headline separate cards. So once again, we can expect some A sides versus C sides, but fights like, could they do a Jose Ramirez versus Victor Postol behind closed doors? They can do it. Why? I don't. It's hard for me to believe that we're gonna have in arena fights where right now we're at in the United States we're at 93,000 deaths or some old crazy shit. And I'm not talking. I'm not going to mention. No, I haven't. I did good not saying it. Saying the words, the name of, I did good. We're not, but we're in a damn pandemic. I can say that. So it's hard to see, like I was going to reset again. Y'all going to have to watch it on your own time. It seems like it's some very good information in there, and truth be told, I got to go do some shopping. It's almost 10 o'clock in the morning, so I like to get my little shit out the way real early, because these days people sleeping late. So get my little shopping done, come back, and you know what? I'm going to do some more videos. The next video I'm going to do is going to be on PBC, so hold me to it. Give me about 3 hours. So as you can see, I always keep that time and everything up there for a reason. And plus I need a break from paperwork. I've been typing. Let me tell you. There is going to be other content on this channel. I've been talking about it for months. It's here now. I can't really, push it back anymore. But whatever. I'm TstreeT Controversy with FightView360.com. Cover every single major fight live. So yeah, if I don't go to the fight, judging in a different room but with monitors, that's going to be interesting. But if I don't go to the fight, it's going to be a busy week because they're talking about multiple fights in 1 week, like not just 2 cards. So it's going to be lit. Even though, once again, I have to mention, the competition may not be, but we're going to get our thirst quenched a little bit. I'm interested to see what them ratings are going to be. I'm TstreeT Controversy with FightView360.com. Please subscribe.